DJ QT on the ones and twos. Fuji in the building. Darius behind the camera. I'll go by the name of B. Davis. We got a very special guest in the building with us. I like that.
There we go.
I like that. We got the homie. He goes by the name Breezy, TyTy on Instagram. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great. Thank you guys for having me.
Content creator. Just taking social media by storm.
TikTok going crazy.
TikTok is going crazy. I gotta follow you on TikTok, by the way.
Yeah, make sure you do that.
Yeah, I gotta follow you on TikTok.
Everybody,
Appreciate it.
The you just setting the standard for content in Connecticut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want to say maybe like the top. Like, I don't know. I feel like that might be it. Like top.
I think when it comes to production value,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How you feeling, brother?
I feel great. I'm excited to be here, and overall, I'm like, I just want to like give back and share. Like you said, you was talking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that when you're doing something here, let's put the highlight on it. Whether it's just social media, whether it's we talking on the radio, whatever we're doing, just like put some highlight on it. A lot of times people say Connecticut don't have it, but we do. We just gotta find it.
Right. Sometimes it's like we talk briefly, but very in depthly about why we do what we do, where the passion comes from, and a part of what we do is just building a platform for Connecticut to see themselves, like you said, to find themselves, to connect like-minded individuals, So connecting with you, having you on the platform is major. So definitely appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Shouts out to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
What sets you apart in your mind as a content creator from everyone else?
I think, that's the thing that helped me to find myself as a content creator. When I look at content creation, I started way different than I am now. Over the years, I thought about being a content creator is cool, but what's the long term, what's the longevity of what you're doing? And I feel like once I figure out where I want to be, like on Netflix, I want to be creating films. I want to be able to showcase my imagination, the city. I want to bring the culture in. I want to do all that. And to do that, at some point in my life, I got to make sure I'm on the right trajectory where I'm going. So as a content creator, I said, I want to start not until I get to Netflix to show them what I could do there. Let's start now and then work on this over and over. So that's why I incorporate layers of VFX, layers of, extra stuff that a lot of time is not even needed, but it makes me feel great because I'm still on the trajectory where I'm going. So as a content creator, I realize my motto, I always say, is quality over quantity. How can I focus on dropping quality stuff over just flooding the social media when there's so much content creators out there just dropping stuff? So already you see one of my videos and it make a smile, laugh, or just in general, you say that's dope, versus seeing 10 videos I just half tried on any of them. So overall, I feel like it just really, the vision that I have, the storytelling, how do I incorporate things that you probably only seen in a Marvel movie right on your Instagram page, and I started with a phone. So doing that level of stuff to a phone camera is kind of crazy because a lot of people are like, oh my god, what's the team look like, what is like this? And when it comes down to it, it's just a few of us just dedicated and passionate about what we're doing.
Nah, man, that's dope. What's your most successful video?
It's crazy. My most successful video is a video I probably put 20 to 30 minutes making. And just to give you a standpoint, as Maria might know, as Fuji say, is we take hours to just film a 30-second videos, right? So I did this in 20 minutes. For me, it was crazy. And it's a video I did around the Squid Game when it was popular, and it was just this recreation I did of it. And it was like a 6-second video, but it ended up almost at 40 million views, right? And I'm like, what? I put way more work in other stuff, but overall, it's just like, I just, got the idea and it was trendy and I was like, I gotta hop on this. Like, I have a vision for it. I could come back to the storytelling. I just hop on it and it blew.
Wow. Pause.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Right.
You can't just, are you reaching? We don't know.
40 million views is ridiculous, man. That's a lot of views for a 6-second video.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you posted it, did you have What was your expectations when you posted that video?
You know what it is? It's like with social media, you don't know, but you kind of know, even though we say we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And with this video, I didn't know. Like, I could finally say I couldn't know. I just thought it was trendy, and if I just hop on it, why not? But I was more focused on something else. So when this blew, I was just blown away. Like, I remember waking up, posting it, because I usually post at night, waking up, and I saw my notification list max. I'm like, what the hell? And then just over again, like, I just see, boom, like, it just keep going, and I'm like, yo, like, I gained almost 50,000 followers overnight, and I'm like, what? And then the next day I was like 150,000 followers. I'm like, yo, what? That's one video, like, you know? And that's what I love about the TikTok algorithm, is that when they push your stuff, when you have quality stuff, it push you, you know? And Instagram is similar. I feel like you gotta work way harder, because now you're competing with people that are, you know, they watch, but they don't as much interact with your stuff, you know? I feel like it's more so like, what they up to, but not how can I help them, you know, to see what they're up to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, more lurker vibes.
Right, definitely.
No, that does make sense. And I've heard a lot of creators say that, content creators say that they rock with TikTok more than any other platform. You talked about highlighting Connecticut. What part of Connecticut are you from?
Well, I'm up the street. And more specific, I grew up in Hartford. Been here for years. North End.
Okay.
I shot a lot of the videos straight off Blue Hills. You know, I shot a lot of my first videos at the park down the street from Weaver. You know the new name for now. I know it's
Willow's
Park.
Creek. Yeah, we call it
I know it's Bose Park growing up. You know,
yeah.
So
That's how we know you.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I know it as, and I just spend a lot of time just like, you know. But the craziest thing about it is, like, a lot of the time I spent making content here, not once in my mind I feel like I will be here today talking about it. You know, and that goes a long way, because I remember the first video I made was not even my first video. It was a video I made with one of my other friends that was like, can you do the Caribbean version of these? And I kept doing Caribbean parents be like, you know, black parents be like, and I was doing that on Facebook, you know, like back in the 2012, you know, that was that little Facebook skit era. And I was doing a lot of those for a while, but I was never a content creator myself. I was just a person that was just being the extra in somebody's video.
Yeah, just the character.
Right, and they was the one that doing all the extra work and stuff, and I was just the character. And then I got to a point where people was like, yo, why don't you hop on Vine? Like, why don't you, like, get on there? And I was like, nah, yeah, you know, I didn't want to do all the editing and all that extra stuff. I was like, that's for them, you know? But eventually I got on there, and look, we're here today talking about it.
Were you creative as a kid?
Definitely was creative, you know. I went to school for engineering. I always wanted to build something. You know, my mom always say we spent a lot of time drawing in the school books when we was in Jamaica. You know, I'm from Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica before I came here. And a lot of those books finished not because of schoolwork, but because we kept drawing, we kept sketching. So I always had this creative sense of, like, creating things. You know, I was an artist. I always draw. Then I got to a point where I like painting, you know. Just anything I could get my hands on to, like, express story. Storytelling has always been a center of the focus of whatever I do. And then video, you know, growing up, I used to watch even like, yo, I want to get into that TV. I could tell you what show or movies coming on tomorrow at that time and this, because I was so just blown away by just TV and just the idea of telling story, visual. And I'm a visual learner, so when it comes to anything visual, that's what hooks me. And social media, the internet, YouTube, I was just talking about earlier, that platform was like, how do I take this creativity and put it digital? How do I put it online, virtual? And that's, you know, where I got to.
Yeah, so I mean, connected dots. You went from going to school to be an engineer, to creating content.
Right. I know, you know, it's crazy. If
I know your parents, if they West Indian now, I know they was disappointed. What type of conversation did you have with your parents? Was it your mom or your dad? Who did you tell first?
Listen, definitely my mom. My mom is more supportive of it. Well, the thing about it, like, they both supportive of what I do, but I feel like my mom understands it more, you know? My mom still lives in the island, and she saw what I was able to do off social media. So I didn't just say, oh, I'm going to just stop school, you know, because I stopped school to take this serious, you know, because I remember being in the engineering course and learning about all these crazy stuff, and I'm like, bro, we're doing all this, and where the passion went. You know, in high school, I graduated high school, you know, top of my class, you know, top. I graduated with a scholarship, Hartford Promise Scholar. You know, I went there, you know, tuition, everything kind of paid for it. And I was there. I was sitting in them seats. I did a lot of lessons and stuff. But on the side, I always was doing content. And while I was in school, I was sitting in class and just daydream about my next video. And I was like, I can't be here. Like, there's no way I can't focus. Not that I wasn't in tune with school, because I always been engineering, designing. But when it came down to, like, I feel like I was just wasting myself away. I know if I graduated and become an engineer, I could have a great life. You know, I could, you know, such a, you know, they say well off. But for me, I would be well off physical, but would I be well off mentally? You know, and for me, when I was able to, I was just thinking about it. If I'm sitting out of the decks, CAD, designing the bridge, a rotor, this and that, because I did internships, you know, and social media's still gonna be there. The other critters, they're gonna still be there. I'm gonna look down at my phone every day with regret, saying, what, you know, where would I have been if I continue going, you know? And I feel like for me, the conversation, to get back what you said, you know, we went off on a tangent a little bit. I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, like, I've been debating this for years. I don't know what to do. And I'm a big on my faith. I'm very spiritual when it comes to God, you know? And I kept asking God, like, if this is what I need to do, like, show me the way. Like, I trust your judgment. I never doubt or foresee. You never forsaken me, so I would never doubt you. So give me the route. Give me what I need to do. And I feel like I just always been divinely driven on my path, what I'm doing. So when I was at a place where I just felt like it was the right moment. And I went to my mom and was like, hey, Mom, I'm in school. I'm paying all this tuition. I'm doing all this thing, you know, because I took a while to, like, really get in depth what I was doing. So when I went to my mom and talked to my mom about it, she was like, you know, if this is really, does this make you happy? Is this what you really want to do? And I was like, yeah, Mom, like, you know that, like, she didn't even take a second to even ask about, like, oh my God, what about school? She was like, I trust you. You always know what you want. You always have a very intentional about the things you do. So I'm all for it, you know. And if it doesn't, you know, she never like say, oh, it doesn't work out. But if you ever need help or anything, like, just let me know, how can I be a part of that journey? You know, even her being away from there. When I went to my dad, it was a whole different story. You know, he was like, is it making money? You know, is it doing this? Is it doing that? And I feel like, you know, they have the best interests at heart for me. So for them, it's just like, if it could support you and you're happy, then I'm all for it. So I always had supportive parents of the craft I was doing. And even at times when they didn't understand, like, my first skits, I was using my dad's clothes for different characters. He used to give me shoes and shirts, and, you know, they're much older days to play grandpa, granddad roles and stuff. And my dad always been supportive. Just take whatever you want. Go, you know, he used to tell me that I was to take all the stuff out of his closet and go down to the basement and make 6 different characters off of that, just using his clothes and stuff. So, you know, they always support in the ways they can, and they was definitely for it. And I think I've proven to them that, you know, there's success to it. You know, there's a lot of things I accomplished being a content creator and just here in Connecticut, you know. So I think they see it, and they're just surprised that I just stuck with it. I've been doing it since I was probably 14, and now I just turned 25. So that's almost 10 years, and a little bit over 10 years.
Wow.
So they see the dedication.
No, that's dope, man. What was it like going viral for the first time?
Going viral for the first time. The first viral video I have, I remember it was a Friday. I was junior year in high school, working on it. And I posted it like Sunday night. I went to school. Everybody in school was talking about the video. Everybody. And that's the first time I felt like, you know, I know what it felt like to have something go viral, because when at first I saw the numbers going up in the morning, but for me it was just like, it was crazy because it's the first time. But then to see people in person, like 1,000 views versus 2 or 3 people coming up to you is 2 different things. So after a while, you know, the numbers was coming in, but when I was there and people was like, yo, we saw that video. Even teacher was talking to me about the video. Like, it was like, yo, like, y'all saw that? And, you know, just when I felt that moment, it was just different. And King Vader saw the video and commented on the video and asked me where I'm at. And then from there, like, I started connecting with creators, you know? And then from that, it was just like, wow, like, this world is way closer to me than I think it is. And I was like, yo, I'm onto something. And then after that, the rest is history. I just kept going.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you if you ended up breaking into that social circle of content creators, and it sounds like you did with that video.
With that video, it did. But it was still hard. It was still hard because it's like, you just have one video. Anybody could make one video go viral, right? And not everybody, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, everybody could have one video that go viral.
Right.
But what's the follow-up, you know? And on top of that too, it's just like, what's outcome of going viral? Like, it's cool to go viral, but what happened next? You know, a lot of people don't think about what happened next. It's cool to be known, but what is that influence going? What are you doing? And I feel like that's what I was focused on, besides just the social part, because a lot of my content was just me, you know, for a long time, for years and years and years, until I got to like, I want to social, and I start bringing people to make the roles less. But overall, like, I know that, okay, I'm a person, when I see an opportunity, I was like, how can I turn this into something more? I don't want it just to die here. So I took that opportunity. I was like, okay, I reached out to these people. The next week, I was on the next part 2 for that video before, you know, as it's going viral, I'm thinking about, we need to make another one. Like, you know, we need to get it out there. So overall, I just felt like, as I'm, you know, doing this content stuff, the social stuff to come natural. I feel like I said, my fate divide me. I'm always like, reaching up new people, and whether it's their lesson or blessing, something comes out of it, right? And I'm a person, everything happened for a reason. So even if it was bad, it's how do you look at it, perspective, right? So that moment is a lesson to learn something, and if it was good, that means it's a moment to progress on something, you know, it's a blessing.
Do you ever feel like people, content creators, are jacking your style?
No, I feel like if you could do it, do it. Like, even if somebody copy my video for video, do it. Like, I want to see you do it. I want you to motivate me to do it better. You know, I want you to motivate me to a level where I feel like I'm no longer comfortable using that same preset. In other words, using those same effects. And I want you to force me to think of another way to go. You know, I'm a person that, for me to grow, I love competition. And I have competition as friends that I have. Like, and I feel like the best way to feel competition is to have people copy it if you want, do the same thing. But the thing is, just like, just know I'm not going to stop there, you know? Like, now you're going to have to repeat the next thing. And then eventually you get to a point where it's hard to copy what you do. And I love it, because I feel like one of the best, they say one of the highest form of, you know, impression that somebody could do, or flattery, is impersonation, you know? And I feel like I impersonated people I was coming up to be, and to place people I felt like I surpassed, you know? But overall, it just, I want that challenge. And I feel like for me as a content creator, I love a challenge. I hate when I'm just there and I feel very mediocre just doing the same thing over and over just because it's viral. No, like, give me some little, maybe because I'm very resilient, give me some stress, give me some headache, you know, like when we film in the Fuji at time, when we filming and I'm stressed, I love that stress, because that's make me know that I respect the process.
Right.
Like, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, no matter what I'm going to shoot, after doing it for years, but because I respect the process so much, I still have the passion to respect that. If I'm nervous, it's because I don't want to mess up, I don't want to do this bad, and that's just so respect, you know. And when I comes on to it, like,
It's
I don't
just care.
It just care to it. And I feel like I'm in a whole lane. So there's a lot of content creators that doing content, and I love what they're doing. I'm always like, do it. Like, you know, how can I help? You know, do this. My style might not be the same style as you, but the internet is still the same, right? So if that's your style, do your style. This is my style. You want a jacket? Jacket. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I look at us, you know, even just like black people in this community, like, we love, sometimes we tend to compete when you doing something great, you can collab. Why, you know, we always sometimes look at competition, but sometimes it's collaboration. You doing something great, I do something great, that's Bill, you know?
Facts.
So that's how I look at it.
That's the beauty of social media, is collaboration. Like, once you were able to collab on post, and like, my algorithm and my community, my audience can benefit you and benefit them, and we all come together on one post. It's not even a project. It's just a post. It's just a picture.
Right.
Right?
No, that's dope. TikTok have that now. Like, they could do the same thing.
Oh, finally.
I was waiting for that for a long time.
I think that's what we were talking about before, building communities within communities is the era that we're in now.
Right.
You talked before about starting on an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Or just a phone, just shooting on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about the whole process, right? Like, shooting. I'm sure you don't still shoot on the iPhone.
I just stopped last year.
So walk me through the process of shooting on the iPhone, and then like the post production, because like the CGI you're doing is
right.
like
Most of those videos,
you know,
so
like not even like Tubi movies. I haven't seen a Tubi movie with
A Tubi movie can't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
I saw one video of some guy, he was acting in the car and his beard was falling off. And it was a very serious scene. And it was so funny. I was cracking up because you could see the girl really trying to, and she did good. She was holding it together, but yeah, you got Tubi on lock. They probably need to hire you.
What?
You probably got to go over there and help them out a little bit.
So talk to me about that process and go ahead. Talk to me about the process first. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's like everybody have their own process, right? I feel like, you know, when it comes to the process of how I go about it, for me, it's like, it's crazy, but I visualize a lot of the stuff before I even done it. So it's like the things that I'm going to do in post, I already know what it's going to look like. And maybe I add more to it, but it's like...
Is it you doing the editing?
Yep, I do everything. VFX, everything from scratch.
How long did it take you to learn that type of stuff?
YouTube, over the years. And I didn't count it as long. It's every project I need to learn this and master this in order to drop that project. If I don't, the project never get dropped. So every project is a force on myself. Like, it's a challenge.
It's a lesson.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
While a lot of people spend their free time learning this, I don't do that. I take the video project on and figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a person, you put me in the field. Let's chatting about what we're going to do. Let's do it and then figure it out in post, you know? I'd rather have something to work on than something to talk on, right? The difference is between doers and talkers, the one get it done, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, to get it done, I got to put myself in the field.
Yeah.
So.
When we look at those type of graphics, I know I do. I'm like, yo, I took a lot. Because that's what they tell us. Like, this movie took so much X amount of dollars and the green screen and
it does
all that type of stuff. But you're doing it on Instagram, so you're making it seem like it's not as expensive as it seems.
So that's the thing, right? I'm happy you asked that question because I have a friend, Chris, you know,
Shout
really
out Chris.
good. Shout out to Chris, you know, great, one of the best CGI artists, you know, I met over here, right? And, you know, just in general too, like, he's so great at what he does, right? And we always have conversation about, you know, at some point we used to think like, man, it's like people don't even see the work we put into a lot of this. But then we got to a point understanding that the humbleness comes from the idea that you understand that a lot of people just don't know what goes into it, right?
Yeah.
And we make it look easy, and that's
the
you're
point.
great at
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
We make it look easy.
Exactly.
So, for example, a 3-second video might take me 4 hours to edit. 3 seconds of VFX, you know? So if I'm doing a video that's 30 seconds long, that might take me an entire week just to edit, you know, every day, working 12 hours editing that video. So one video would take me a week of editing. And because I'm a full-time content creator at the time, I was doing, like, every day I just woke up from, like, 9, I'll finish around, like, 10. Editing. So it's like a lot of people are like, oh my God, you got so lucky, you got this, you got that, oh my God, it must be nice, how do I do that? And it's hard because like that discipline, 90% of the work that was done behind the scene, you don't see it, you know? And it's just like, you know, definitely it could be expensive. A lot of what we do is expensive, but when you're doing it for yourself, there's a passion in it. And because there's a passion in it, you're going to push past what's capable, what's needed, what's done, you know? And I got to a point where I know what needs to be done. And I know that in order for me to maintain what I'm doing and be one of the best content creator in the game, I have to dedicate to the craft. I have to learn to love the craft. I have to love the hard work because it's a journey. The journey is great. You gotta appreciate that journey. You gotta love the process, right? And just loving that process. Eventually, I feel like all the success and the stuff that people are seeing are just benefit. It's just like it's the fruit of the labor. But success is having a process that work over and over and just continue doing it over and over in a pattern.
Yeah, how do you come up with the ideas for your skits? Like a lot of your skits are Marvel based, like character based.
Yeah.
But they're doing like real life, like black stuff.
Right.
I'm trying to edit it for the radio.
No, I get it. So the thing about it is, when I look at content creation or just making a video, I come up with so much ideas. Like Fuji could tell you, we had a time where I run into ideas where we thought we was gonna film, but sometimes some ideas go on back burners, you know. I go down to like, there's a process I go through, like, you know, and I'm gonna give you the secret. So if you're listening and you want to know like how I do my content, here's the secret. Like I said, replicate it. Show me what you could do. Like, you know, give me a challenge, right? The first thing I do is like, I need a joke, I need a hook, but a joke is not enough. A joke is not good enough for a hook because a joke over time is not replayable, right? You get it. You know, it's dead, you know? So the idea is like, I need to wow you. I need to hook you. So I have 3 seconds. Attention span is the most important thing in social media. I have 3 seconds to decide if you're going to stroll or not, right? So in that 3 seconds, I decide if I'm going to show you something crazy, something insane, the hook. So when I hook you, now I need to build you up. I can't just give you the meat I need to give my time. I need watch hours, you know? So in order to get watch hours,
Thank you.
in order to get watch hours, I need to build something up. So I might have mini jokes, mini stuff. I love it. I love a lot of Easter eggs. So I might put random stuff that people are going to talk about. No, that was a PS5. Why is it flat? Why is that? Who's that guy in the background doing all that? Just a lot of teasers. Teasers create rewatch.
Yeah.
But I do it so fast and cinematically, in a sense, with audio mixing, where it's going to make you want to rewatch it, because you're like, what did I just watch? You know, I love that. What did I just watch? I got to watch it again. And that rewatch help virality. But overall, it's just like, you know, I set the hook, build the riser. You know, it's the same with a story, you know, any generic conventional story. And then I hit you with a hook. But then you think I got you, but I hit it with a twist. That's majority of my formula for every video, you know. Always a twist at the end. The twist going to make you rewatch your video, because it's like, wait, did I see that coming? And then you watch it again with a different perspective. So overall, I say hook him, rise it, hit your big finale, and twist it. And I think that's a great way to go about it. Like, you make them think they finally know what you're going, and just twist it. And it's like, I always shoot videos that up to like a minute plus to 2 minutes. Then I cut it all the way down to 30 seconds. So everything you're saying is intentional.
That's what I was thinking. Like, when all those steps that you described, that's happening within 15
seconds.
15 seconds. If
15
that.
seconds.
Like you said, somebody's attention span these days is 3 seconds.
That's why I move away from 1 minute video. I also make videos 1 minute long. And that was back when Instagram was lit. Like back in it is. Now, I don't want to make a minute long video. 15 seconds is what I'm giving you. You decide if you like it or not. I'm not. People feel like, oh my God, bro, nobody really care about you when they stroll across the page. They don't know who you are. All they care about what you have to deliver. They don't care what you look like. You know, what they care about is, I mean, unless that's the type of content, but, you know, what they care about is, what can you give in that 30 seconds or I'm giving away on my life, just strolling to my timeline. What can you give me?
Yeah.
And in that 30 seconds, you know, unless you hook me, I'm not watching past 15 seconds of that video, you know, not even 5 seconds, you know. You could tell yourself, when you're at home showing into your phone or just whatever, if that video don't catch your attention or hook in a certain second, you're gone. So it's like you have a good 5 second window, catch them or not, you know?
Yeah.
But don't keep them too long now just because you caught them, because now you're getting boring. And rewatches matters a lot on social media, you know? I had somebody call me from Meta, you know, and they told me about one of the biggest issue I have is inconsistency with posting content. But then again, it's like me talking about being in that lane where quality over quantity. I can't drop what I drop, you know, weekly, because I'm spending a week editing, a week shooting, a week planning, and then finally putting everything together. And then I have to get myself up that if that video flops, I got to get up and go make another one as if nothing happened. So every work I just spend on that money, because money goes into this too. People don't know, I spend a lot of money to create those content. It'll like just this and that, but I got to buy asset, sound, sometimes hire people, get location, and it's a lot that goes into that process, you know, and you know, I don't know. That's really gotta say about it. It's a lot. It's a huge process.
It sounds like a lot, and I mean, it sounds like a mini production team, right?
Oh, it is
for any type of like film, whether it's a TV show, a movie. It sounds like the same type of
it's the
team.
same setup.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, we've worked together, and it can be a quick thing, but I notice working together, the more people, the more retakes, because everyone has to be in sync. And we spent 2 days shooting, right? 2 separate days and full days. I'm talking like at least 8 hours,
yeah, at least
8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
How long? It was like 8 to 10 hours that we shot, and it was to the point where after I had to take work off. My body was done.
Wow.
Oh, it was bad. I had bruises that were like complete, like, bro, I showed him. I had to call him, but like, bro, how are you feeling? He was like,
what were y'all doing? What was the skit?
A Marvel skit.
A Marvel skit. Yeah, it's a new one that's gonna release, 25 second long, but it took us 2 days to film.
Wow.
2 days, 2 full days, like not like 2-3 hours. It was 8 to 10 long hours.
And the setup,
the setup, the lighting.
The cameras,
I'm talking about the cameras,
bouncing lights, all that, crews, everything.
Yeah,
you know?
And it had to be like more than one person, all hands on deck. I'm talking like. It's just
even
so
food
much
to
work.
bring everything out.
You gotta make sure there's food, because it's so long, and you're just there. And some people are not shooting. Sometimes you gotta get into, you know what I mean? Like you have to. It's a lot. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot. It sounds like
is.
a
No,
movie.
Yeah,
Right,
but it's
right.
honestly though, it's so rewarding at the end when it's like, all right, like everything's all done. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like because the final product is just so rewarding. I don't know, like when
Trust
the
me.
first project we worked on, it was for Sheen Men.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy because we put that together, and then that didn't even like I don't even see it.
Right.
You know what I
right,
mean?
Right.
Like,
mm-hmm.
and we put work into that. You know what I mean? Like that took like time. We had to go and
Right.
talk to the venue, make sure it was okay to even like shoot there.
Yep.
And then like we're like, and people are asking us like, "Are you guys from the news? Like, what is this?"
Right.
Like, because he has like a
Equipment we're
giant,
bringing
yeah,
is
he has
crazy.
equipment with us.
It's
You know what I
almost
mean?
$20,000 in equipment.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Then we linked up with a mutual friend for another project, and that equipment is insane because we're literally in a car and there's
Yeah.
shades and a giant light in the windshield, and like you got a camera that's
Negative
the size
fields.
of literally this,
Right.
and like it's like right in your face, so like it's just nonstop, kind of like this.
right. Yeah.
But no, yeah,
And the pressure, no matter what, no matter how you rears, the pressure is always going to be there. You know, the fact that
Oh, yeah.
everybody dedicate this time to be here in the now. And when
Right.
you're in the now, you know, but the greatest part, I think one of the best part about production is like the energy of the people around you, just like the jokes we make, you
and
know.
it matters who's around because
Who's around,
you gotta
yeah.
have the right people with the right energy. One bad seed can like ruin everything if someone's moves off, because it's a lot. You're doing one thing over and over and over until you get it right, and then you're doing extra on top just to be safe.
Just to be safe.
So then you know how tedious that is, and if everyone's kind of like, if there's one person losing patience and then they can't get it right, it's like it's over at that
It's
point.
over, yep,
yeah.
yep.
But good thing that we have everybody who's like really involved, and
Yeah.
it didn't even go the way we even planned.
Right,
Like
right.
it was supposed to be like a whole like. We wanted like, didn't you say originally it was supposed to be like a little boy and it'll be a
Yeah,
little
little
girl?
girl, yeah,
She ended
yeah.
up, she wasn't even supposed to be there. She just happened to
Right.
show up.
But I
My
feel like
roommate-
that's divine timing.
But that is, yeah, and that's
I always say
God
that.
because
That's
it was
God,
divine timing.
like,
Because
divine, like,
even then we were even doubting at one point, but it was a quick doubt. But it was like, you know what? This is why we do this. Just
Right.
let it roll out. We're here. Be present. Let's just be chill. And it just ended up falling through.
That's
Right.
dope. When is that skit dropping?
Next weekend, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. You know, I'm almost done with VFX, but I still gotta do audio mixing and all that type of stuff, you know. And color grading is good, which is great. That's my favorite part about color grading, and just getting the colors and everything I wanted to match the scenes. A lot of new projects you're gonna see gonna look way different than the ones you've seen, just because production has moved up. So this is gonna be one of the first videos, beside the last one we dropped, that gonna have a different level of production. So it's gonna seem like you're watching a movie. Like it's gonna feel like that because, like I said last year, all those videos I was phone. But now we're using equipments, you know, that are like high end, you know, like I'm telling you, Netflix graded equipments, you know. So now the stuff you're gonna see is gonna be well put together, and that's what I dedicated last year to, was learning and getting the stuff I needed. Because a lot of time when we filming and stuff, I don't, you know, the thing is like when I'm doing like a production like for Sheen or for Crocs or for Lion Gates or for Amazon, you know, when I'm doing project for those, they want a quick turnaround. I have at least a week to shoot, edit, and VFX everything, get the video out to them, and that's impossible. Like, it feels impossible. When you have the right team, right people around you, you get it done, you know. And I got to a point where I got to start buying everything because I can't wait to rent this, I can't rent that, I can't do that, I have to get it. I gotta become the powerhouse of what I need to get done, and being spontaneous, like, you know, you said, like, there's gonna be time when you think things gonna go a certain way, but being open to changes and last minute things, you know. And sometimes I feel like we always say, God, divine timing, things work out.
Yeah.
Do you think it's harder to be a content creator in Connecticut as opposed to bigger markets?
I don't think so. Being a content creator in general, well, let's define the term of what we call in a content creator, right? Because anybody could pick up the phone and be a content creator, no matter where you are in this world, right? But to be successful, I feel like it's possible. However, there's definitely gonna be some challenge in terms of like support, and the lack of support a lot of times come from the fact that there's no representation, or the perception that there's no representation, right? Being over here, a lot of times we don't see a lot of people doing it at a different level. So it's quick to lose motivation or believe that things gonna work out, right? When you go different, when I travel different places like Cali and Landon, places like, people are like, they eat and breathe this, you know? So it's different because they see other people make a life, make a living, you know. Just 3 or 4 months ago, I was out in the valleys up in Cali talking to a content creator that made it big, like established, And he told me his journey. And when you realize as a content creator, a lot of us have the same struggles in the way. Like, you know, we all think that we're different because we're different places. But I don't think Connecticut defines it. I feel like it's all a mental thing. You could make it a mental thing. Oh, yeah, I'm in Connecticut. But look at the biggest TikToker that came out of the country was from Hamden, Connecticut. Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio, right? Leonard Young, one of the biggest creators. My friend Kyle, you know, great on Netflix, you know, creator. And you have a lot more content creator. You have Jimmy, you know, that's all around Connecticut filming and doing stuff, you know. You have Jugger. You have a lot of creators out here that's doing their thing. You know, Chris, all of them. Everybody's doing their thing. So I just think unity might be the only thing that we lack to some extent, because at times we tend to separate rather than collab. Remember I tell you about competition rather than collab? But I see a lot of, I'm hopeful and very optimistic about the future here. I see a lot of upcoming creators, and they're passionate and they're driven. I've seen people that, like, for example, you know, Jugger. I seen Jug when he started, you know, I seen him in his rapping phase. I saw him wanted to start off from scratch, and me seeing how he wanted this, but me seeing him now, he need this in the sense that he can't even think of a life. I don't think he could think of a life outside this, where he's not being a content creator. And I saw him take it to a level where, you know, that's what I like. I like when I reach out and I help a certain content creator and this and that, and just put them onto game, and they take that and they run with it. You know, that makes me happy. Like I'm always saying, I never ever feel like nobody's trying to take nothing away from me, because there's no perception that it's not enough. You know, if people think, oh, the market's too saturated, I can't be a content creator, bro. It doesn't matter. Pick up that camera, less talking, more doing. Go film something. You know, my content might not match somebody else, and your content might not match somebody else, but it's okay. Everybody, there's an audience for everybody. It's already there. You just got to go find it. You know, the money is already print. You just got to go get to it.
Well said, man.
That makes me want to pick up a camera and record myself right now.
That just makes me want to do something.
Yeah.
That just makes me want to do something.
Come on,
man.
Q.
You got to be passionate out here, man.
Yes.
Chase your dreams, man.
Yeah.
Nah, that's dope, though. Man, I just see so much success on the horizon for Connecticut as a whole when it comes to content, right? Because the world, I just went to Texas. I went to Austin, Texas, and you'd be surprised how many people don't know where Connecticut is on the map.
I moved to Georgia when I was in middle school, and freshman in high school. Yeah, freshman in high school. And I was like, yeah, I'm from Connecticut. I was like, where's that? Where's that? New York? And I said, no, it's a small state right above New York. And they have no idea. And that says a lot too, you know what I mean, with just shining that light on us, because we're so small, but we're next to so many big states, and I feel like that overshadows us. So we have to stand out, and we have to work a little harder just to push outside of that demographic. And because a lot of those big entities are in other places, like, for example, a lot of big productions are located, like, say, in LA, right? You get a lot of actors and everything because that's their livelihood. You know, that's normalized to them. Out here, that's not normal. We're the insurance state. We're the insurance capital of the world. Like, you know what I mean? True. Like, we're more stiff when it comes to that. You know, people out here can't even fathom becoming a content creator and being rich. You know what I mean by that?
I think like nowadays it's starting to change with people like Jugger and Ty.
And you're
it's definitely leading the way.
Yeah, you're setting that bar, you know, to where people feel like, you know what, maybe I can do this. And it's like, yeah, you can. You know, me on TikTok, it's crazy. I neglect it so much. I posted one video, and that was the one video that blew up. And then after that, it's like, I just never went back. I have a subscription there. Never just did anything with it. And it's just sitting there. And it's like, these kind of conversations kind of motivate me a little bit to want to take that step and be like, you know what, let me open that TikTok app real quick.
No, I think what you said, like everything you said is what I think, you know. You know, when I look at this, it's like, I feel like everybody could be a content creator. All you just gotta do, you know, if you have a phone, you're a content creator. Whether you're posting or not, you're creating content. You know,
absolutely.
And then you tell yourself, what level of content creation do I want to get to? That's when the question comes in. Okay, what will it take? You know, if you're thinking you're gonna quit money, get away from the 9 to 5. No, you're gonna work 24/7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
I feel like people don't understand that when you're a content creator, it's not just you just putting the phone up. I mean, some people are, you know, girls got it more easy. I feel like.
Yeah. To
where
some
they could
extent.
just right to some extent though, because especially like I wouldn't say like makeup artists, they spend hours doing those videos just for 15 little seconds, just to do a little pop.
Right.
And it's so crazy because people look at them and they're like, oh, like you got it easy, and it's
You
like,
lucky.
girl,
You
you have no
making
idea.
money.
I just did 10 hours worth of makeup and I have to take it off.
And then go get a real job.
And, that is
like
crazy
content
to me.
creation is not a job. Go get a real job.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like for years, it's crazy because I feel like I said, I always divine timing back to God. Like I feel like me and God is on a journey, and He's leading me on the journey I'm on. So everything I feel like happened, even here today, is a part of divine journey. Whether it's a lesson, blessing, or something gonna be from it, right? And when I look at things like this, it's just like when you look at the content creation world, anybody could do it. When I look around me, I see so much potential, and it motivates me. Sometimes being in Connecticut, so I like to look at things from a different perspective, and I feel like being in Connecticut is a blessing if the way you look at it, right? If you look at it, it's like, oh my God, like there's nobody here doing it. Oh my God, it's too much. Let's go to LA. Let's go to Atlanta. If I told myself I can't make it pop here, I'm not going nowhere. And it's like sometimes I know a lot of people move back here to work on these stuff because it's less competition. It's easier to some extent. There's perks being in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. For one, I get to film a lot of places without have to pay money. In LA, you need a permit to film some places, so there's a lot of perks that there's also tax credit if you go into the more of the bureaucracy side of everything. Mm-hmm. There's more on there. So and there's a lot of people that came back here, like TJ Sullivan from Midas, and he just created a film here, Midas, which did pretty good.
I saw that was amazing.
Right. So that was shot here, Connecticut, with a lot of locals.
Those like Hartford Easter eggs. We needed that
and everything, and we needed it, right?
And it's crazy. A lot of people question. They're like, "Oh, like where'd you set in LA or something?" It's like, no, Connecticut. And that's one character that's bringing Connecticut, on the map.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like to see stuff like that motivates me. I remember just being young and like, I feel like I had to go to LA to make this pop. And I remember the first time I traveled for content creation, just when I realized it was real. Like, I remember traveling to Atlanta to go work with Robbie for the first time, and I was like, wow. Like, I was in the airport in Archfield Jackson, like, yo, like, right before I landed, I was like, yo, I'm really, like, I was in the basement, and I think I didn't give the background story how TikTok got started, but I was just looking to that plane window. I'm like, oh my God, like here I'm at like probably 20 or 21, flying to a new city to go make content, and I'm over here in business class, not first class yet, but business class, just looking over like, wow, like I'm here to work, and that just excites me. And to think about it is that, like, the TikTok situation and all the Instagram social media growth really started in COVID. I was at a place where I was homeless. I didn't have nowhere to go. It was 2019 COVID pandemic. I was living on campus. And when I was on campus, they told us we got to go. I didn't have nowhere to go to. I was with my grandparents, but they moved back to the island. So now I was like, where do I go? I was homeless, and God willingly, I had my godmother, and she said, you could stay with me for, a couple months until you figure things out. Still stressful, but hey, man, it's the solution, right? Mm-hmm. Boom. I went over there to go meet her. She come pick me up from college. I moved in. I was stressed, but I was there with her, and my godmother is white, so it tells a lot, being in the suburbs as a black kid during the pandemic, and the neighbors and stuff, and when you're belonging, right? And away from your friends and stuff during a lockdown. And I was like, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm out here. I'm stuck, And then I was doing online classes. I was so stressed and depressed. But then in that moment, and that's what I love, when you have a moment like that, and just a crack, you just need a small crack in your life for the light to come in. And I felt like the light came in that moment where I was like, okay, TikTok here. I'm bored. Like, I know how to make videos. I'll figure out how to do it. And I spent months in that basement. I bought a $20 green screen off Amazon before I even know to do a lot of edits I know to do now in the VFX. $20 green screen off Amazon. Took that down to the basement. I just started making TikToks. I just started making videos for no views, no nothing, just because I just want to keep those skills alive, Boom. In like 3 months, I get 500,000 followers. And I'm like, whoa. And then I got my first brand deals in that basement. I was doing everything in that basement. I always hear about basement stories, but to live one is different, And my godparents, they was very great. Like, they came down to help. They played different roles in my thing. And I made a super viral video doing the Black Lives Matter march and stuff during the COVID pandemic, where TikTok chose me to be a trailblazer. So that's when I actually met the reps at TikTok and stuff,
What was the video?
It's a a Black Lives Matter. It's a protest with all the people that got shot and stuff, and it was me doing the fist and doing the transition of the people that died and different ways that, it's a super viral. It's all the way on my TikTok. If you go on there, it's on there. And I did the series, and people love that because it was, in that moment, I saw somebody got shot during the pandemic, and I was like, I gotta make something about that. And I went and made that video, and that video was like, it went super viral for them. And when I got there, I get to talk to people on TikTok, got to know them. I talk online with people. I met a lot. That's when the social aspect came. I met so much creators, through like the panels and stuff. They start sending us gifts and stuff. But it just all go to say, like, dedicated 6 months to a point where I was able to make enough money to go get a place to go live, and I started, to go get the apartment, and then that's when the apartment life started, and from there just like onwards. But the fact that I was homeless and I took a skill in Connecticut, let's keep that clear, in Connecticut, I had a passion, a dedication, and I had a drive, and I stayed resilient during that moment, and I just stuck to something. You don't have to be great at everything. Just pick something and just do it. And I picked that, and I've been doing that ever since, and I'm doing it here, and I'm doing it now.
Facts, man. We proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My last question, man. What does Dad think of what you do now?
I think the best question is what Mom thinks. And I say that because, like, I changed my mom's life, with this, in a way she never even thought was possible. I mean, definitely shout out to Dad, I think my dad don't understand it as my mom does, right? My mom lived in the island, so like Sheen is like a huge I
mean, they are a huge entity.
Yeah, they're a huge entity in general, but just them being in the island, that's where they got a lot of these stuff. Like, to get something from this, like, cool. And to see me do an ad for them was crazy. And
like, then, you made it.
Right, like, it's like, for them, it's like, I made it.
Wait, Mom saw me in the video?
Yeah, mom saw everything.
Hey,
Yeah, Mom saw everything.
Mom.
Like, she shares all over WhatsApp. You know how that goes, And she saw a friend of hers saw a video I did for a company. Like, it's crazy because a lot of time I do ads, I sell it to the companies, or I do for them, and I might post it, but they usually keep the rights, and based on our NDAs and contracts and stuff. But anyways, I had a video that my mom saw, like her friend saw, and sent it to him, like, is that your son? Like, that looks so familiar. And it was me, and my mom was like, oh my God, like, that's my son in the video. And it's a simple ad for some mat company, but it was just like the fact that I'm no longer, hey, this is what my son do, but hey, this is what that random person do over here, and it's all over. So it's like, and for me, it's still the beginning. There's so much more I want to do, but that's where we at.
That reminds me of what Biggie said, man. Smiles every time she see my face up in the source. That's real facts, man. That's you can't buy something like that, man. Making moms proud, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Definitely.
Yo, keep going, man. Keep putting the CGI, the green screen to use. Keep inspiring the people in the basements trying to make it out the basements.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And last thing I want to add to that is that, I go into schools every now and then, and I work with kids. I show them alternative to like going to the street life, being on the block, doing this. There's legal way to go about making that money.
Man.
You don't have to just go do that and throw your life away.
Right.
And I have close friends that are, doing things, and it's like, I want to be a light for these people. I love when I go in and see the smile in these kids' faces, just showing them what's possible around here, and just showing them that there's a lot more to Connecticut than just what the system or maybe the quota told us that we could be. We're more than that.
Facts, man. One more time, man. Give out your contact information, Instagram, Facebook, where the people could follow you and watch these viral videos, man.
Well, you can find me anywhere in social media. It's at Breezy TyTy, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram is at Breezy, like the word Breezy, and TyTy twice. That's me.
Titanium Radio, keep it locked.
Tune into your radio. This a heavyweight stadium. Music banging loud through your cranium.